JJK chapter 267 is officially out and Nobara has returned. Let's get into this chapter. There's a lot of stuff explained, so let's get into it. So the chapter begins with Yuta and Gojo doing the body swapping technique. Yuta's in Gojo's body and Gojo is in Yuta's body, and Yuta asks Gojo something. Yuta wants Gojo to give him the last Sukuna finger so he can learn Sukuna's shrine. Yuta thinks this will give them an advantage in the fight, but Gojo says no. Gojo says if Yuta ate the finger, he might get the technique, but he won't know enough about it. He won't be able to use the technique to his strongest ability. Then Yuta explains his curse technique. If he eats a body part of another sorcerer, he can copy their technique, but it's a lot more complicated than that. How big the body part he eats, how lethal it is, how strong the sorcerer, all of these things come into play, but it really depends on sorcerer to sorcerer. Yuta uses Gojo as an example, saying that Rika ate off Gojo's arm. That should be enough to copy his technique, but if Gojo uses RCT on it and regains his arm, that body part that Rika ate can no longer help him use copy. So the body part that Yuta eats has to be of great loss to another person or they can't use RCT on it. Just like Inumaki and Hanakurusu. So the only way that Yuta could copy Sukuna's curse technique is by eating Yuji's finger. Then we cut back to Yuji in his fight with Sukuna, and he has 2 fingers gone. And then Sukuna realizes that Yuta ate Yuji's finger. And then we cut to the finger that was strung up last chapter, and that's actually Sukuna's finger. Then we see Gakuganshi and Urahime, and they say that Sukuna's finger can take any physical damage, but can it take a cursed technique? And Urahime says this is a binding vow, we're not trying to affect Sukuna's finger physically, but if we can let the cursed technique pass through, then maybe we could do something. But then she's worried about the person who's using the cursed technique on Sukuna's finger because they woke up only 30 minutes ago. So who could this be? Nobara Kugisaki. She says, I am back. She says, let's see some smile, boys, or let's rejoice. Then she uses her technique and she goes to hit the nail, and she hits Sukuna with a resonance, and he is stopped in place. And Sukuna realizes he is pinned. He's like, I can't do anything. And Nobara says, how's that for Opapi? And this is a callback to Yuji when he first came back to life. Look at my boy Yuji, he is so happy. Then he activates his curse technique. He hits Sukuna with a dismantle. Then he knees Sukuna in the face. Then he punches Sukuna in the face and he throws up and he says, this isn't over. Then he punches Yuji in the stomach. And Sukuna is fed up with Yuji. He's pissed off because of his makeshift domain. He's not even using RCT. He surpassed his limit a long time ago. And these two were just battered and beat, and they're just punching with everything they got. But then Yuji punches Sukuna, and it has a double impact, the divergent fist. And Sukuna feels it right here. And he says, Sukuna, it's time to finish this cycle of curses. And the chapter ends with a black flash straight to the gut, and Sukuna is out, bruh. And this is the final page of this chapter. We only got 4 more chapters. This was a great one, guys. I can see why people don't like Nobara coming back, but I personally have no problem with it. But let me know, guys, what you think of this chapter. It was awesome.